Hello everyone, I am Jack and I'm back. And I've been off work for a while because of the cold weather. But now today's a nice day. So I'm showing you what I've got. Now what you see on, this is C8, what you see on the right side is the Pagani slash GT40 slash C8 replacement Fender. You go over here to the other side, passenger side, and this is the stock C8 Fender. So what I did was I made a part and basically have it roughly shaped like it should be. The headlights still need some work, but that's just to get a general idea. And then once I got it in the shape I wanted, then I needed to make a way to mount it. So the way to mount it is inside of the wheel well, along the edge of the fender, in between the fender and the hood, and then on the edge between the fender and the door. So what I did on the wheel well part is I made an extension because the fender needs to come out another 2 inches, roughly 1.5 inches, 2 inches from the body, which is roughly where that blue ends. So I put a fiberglass extension. I used metal on the inside here, put fiberglass on the other side, and made an extension all the way around here. Now if you look where it is right now, it's not quite, I trimmed it as close as I thought I could to the edge of the hood, and you can see it's pretty close. Over there I purposely rounded that edge because I don't like this W shape of the C8 hood. I think it's out of character. I think it's out of character on the C8 myself, but it's definitely out of character with this. So I'm going to round that edge out. And then let's see what else. Oh, so you can see that I've got a gap here about 2 fingers wide, but it's all the way to, if you look where the edge is, there's about 4 fingers wide between there, and it knocks down to 3 inches there, but you can see this probably needs to be cut a little bit, but this should match right there and then right there. So it's going to take some movement and some trimming. I might actually have to add a little bit right here to meet that peak. Not a big issue because I can just copy that. All right, so all this to get to the fact that this needs to be moved in. You can see this is way too far out. It should only be about 2 inches. So I need to move this in, but I don't want to cut it here because if I did, I wouldn't have to make the extension. I need to mount it. There's a mounting screw there. There's one down there. There's one right there. Obviously I'll have to put some spacers in here and might have to get longer screws. But anyway, the idea is that this will slide in here and then I can screw it to the wheel well. Had a slight issue in that when I put the metal on here, it slightly slanted outward this way. So you can see that here's the edge, but if you look right there, it's probably a 1/2 inch difference between it, which comes to, oops, there is about a 1/2 inch right here. So what I can do is, since this is too far and I can mount it to the inside of the wheel well, I can cut off the excess. Every bit I cut off here will allow this to move a little bit more that way, which will give me a little more room this way. Same thing here, as I cut it here, since it's slanting this way, there we go. Every bit I cut off is going to move it a little bit this way. Not a lot, but a little bit. There probably is a little, no, I was gonna say there's a little bit of playroom, but there really isn't. This thing's pretty stiff now that it's got a complete circumference around the wheel well opening. So what I might do is come in and make some slits here so that it could be bent. So the reason why this can't bend is because this is a solid piece. If I cut it right there and right there, then this piece independent would be able to move in a little bit. But overall, it's pretty close. I mean, I can see how this would work. One of the other things is we had that, along with the cold weather, we had a horrible windstorm too, and it blew my fender across the driveway and sanded off the paint right there. Not a big deal, but I wish it wouldn't have done that. I just got lucky, and there is some Krylon paint that is close to the color of the C8, not exact, of course, and it's also not got a dull finish, so I could polish it and put some clear coat on it, and it would be even closer. It's never going to be perfect, but not bad. Let me come over here and show you what I'm talking about as far as the fender opening. So if you look, there's the screws you can't see because they're covered by that other fender, all the way up to about here. And then the fender, inner fender lining is here. This fender is not attached to anything in between there and somewhere over here. The top screw is right there. All right, so I can, what am I trying to say? My new fender lip will hold this in place, but it's probably going to have to be cut right through here, because otherwise the tire will hit it when the wheel goes up or the car goes down. But what I was going to show you is that I took a marker, Sharpie. I don't know if I have it in my pocket. I do. All right. So I went along this edge right here of the tire and saw that it's pretty close to where that is. All right, and if you look, that's pretty close to where the screw hole is. So I just need a little bit inside of there. If you look, it only goes, what is that, maybe 3/4 of an inch in, and then it makes a big turn, so that I guess when the tire turns, I don't know. But anyway, I want to make sure I don't cause any issues, clearance issues. So what you can see is that as long as I have that much plus the 1.5 inches, I'll have a mounting surface. Again, I'll probably use some spacers. All right, so then what I did is I came over here and did the same thing. I took the pen, Sharpie, and put it against the tire, and then I went along this edge. So right there is where that mark is, which is close to where the C8 fender is. I can't see, but the C8 fender should be right on the other side of this mark. And then I needed that extra 1.5 inches or whatever, so that I have a bolt hole. You know, there'd be a bolt hole here, mounting hole here, here, wherever they are over there. What that means is I can cut off anything inside of this edge right here. All right, so when I do that, see right now it's hitting right there, so it should allow this to move forward just a little bit, give me a little bit of clearance. And the same thing here, I look and I took my accurate measurement here of about 2 fingers, and then I came down here and said, okay, about 2 fingers in. There we go. And if you look, that's that innermost marking. That's the safest place to cut it, and that'll allow it to move in that much, which is, so that should close that gap right there. It won't close this gap. So then I went in and said, all right, if I really want it to move let's say 3 fingers, then I did the same thing. I put my finger across here, put the Sharpie on the inside of my 3rd finger right there, and I made that mark. Cutting it there should close this gap wherever the 3 fingers is, somewhere in here. All right, and then the 4 and it's 3 fingers right there. And then the 4 fingers would be like there. Come here, and 4 fingers is right there. Now, if you look, it's really only hitting right here. And then right there, it's inside the fender lip. So it's okay, it only contacts the fender lip right here. So I'm going to sneak up on this. First, I'm going to cut it to this line right here, and then across. That should allow it to move in, 2 fingers. So ideally, if I do that, I should be able to push this in enough to close that gap. If that works, then I will proceed. I'll see what's going on, probably remark it and cut it to the next level. And probably I'll stop there just to be safe and see how everything works. Again, I'll cut the front also, and ideally at some point I'll be able to get this inside of this wheel well. That's my goal. All right, that's where I'm at now. And next thing to do is actually start doing the work. Oh, so let me do a walk around so you can see what it looks like. Sun's always in the wrong direction because it sets over there, and with this winter weather, it was 33 degrees when I got up this morning. I don't know what it is now. So over here's the C8, and then it gets wider, car gets wider, and I smooth out all of the sharp edges. The hood still has these sharp edges, and it also comes up here, which I don't want it to do. If you look from the front, see it rises there. I don't really want that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the fender on there and see how bad it looks with these sharp edges. I'm afraid they're way out of character with this car, but I'll wait and see instead of doing anything. If you look, let me open this up. You can see that there is a lot of room to mess with. This indentation right here doesn't have to be here. This could be flat all the way down to there and it would still work. So I've got this much room to play with as far as what I want this shape to be. I already have a new hood skin, so I can mess with it, get it the way I want, experiment with it without messing with this hood. What would be ideal is if I could get this front end on here, leave the hood and everything alone, and then drive it around with this new front end. Headlights are one of my major concerns next, and then how do I do the different front end below where that peak is, and I won't be able to figure that out until I get everything mounted. All right, so if we come around here, you can see that's way too far out, so that'll be pushed in. But again, you can get the general idea. And again, that sheet's there to try to minimize the damage I do to the C8. And let me back up. There you go. That's what it's going to look like. Let me go ahead and walk over here. Hard to walk and chew gum or walk and feel video at the same time. But this is kind of what it's going to look like. And then you can see the back gets out of character because, of course, it's got all the sharp, what I call origami curves on the C8. But you can see that there is what it's going to look like when it's smoothed out. And you can see how far out that fender protrudes, so that's why I've got to start trimming. All right. So that's what we got. Like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.